Do you or your team find yourselves asking questions like, how in the hell do we find our audience online? Who else does our audience follow on social media? What podcasts or YouTube channels do they love? These sorts of questions are part of something known as audience research, which is where you want to pay attention to who else is bending the ear of your target market. This is critical for your marketing because it allows you to very quickly find out what sort of content will resonate with them and what won't. It can be tough to find out exactly where your target audience hangs out online, especially if you're a small business owner or team. So my suggestion is ask your existing audience or use an online tool to find lookalikes. And when you combine them both, oh boy, will you be unstoppable. Here are some simple and effective ways you can gather data from your existing audience. Use social media. Using social media posts and polls is a quick way to survey your audience. You can ask what brands they follow, influencers they love, or even podcasts they recommend, whatever makes sense to you. I want you to think beyond your niche or industry. So for example, if you're a copywriter that helps emerging entrepreneurs, don't ask, what copywriting podcasts do you listen to? Ask something more like, what podcast would you recommend to yourself when you were starting your business? It's more likely your target audience listens to all sorts of marketing, business, and entrepreneurial podcasts. Specific ones about copywriting? Probably not so much. Or let's say you're a nonprofit that helps people with intellectual disabilities build career skills. You could find out who their guardians pay attention to by asking something like, what are your go-to resources that have helped and supported you navigate the world with your loved one? This could bring up associations, organizations, and influencers you didn't even know existed. Surveys. Send out a short survey to your email list asking 2 or 3 questions about their online habits. And also, technologically speaking, you can keep this super simple by asking them to just respond directly in the email. But you could also use a survey tool like Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, or Typeform. Pro tip, you can even sweeten the deal by giving the chance to win a gift card for responding to sweeten how many responses you get. Interview your clients. Sometimes, darlings, you just gotta pick up the phone or hop on Zoom and talk to your audience. This is a great option when you wanna ask deeper questions that a survey or social media post can't really let you get into. Especially follow-up questions like, what was it about that podcast you love so much? Or how did you find out about that particular Discord? You can even work these questions into your onboarding or offboarding process to make the ask a little more natural for you. Side note, I have a whole video all about this whole interviewing your audience thing. If that's your jam, check it out. But what if you don't get a lot of good answers, or your current audience is really small, or you're just not in a position to ask them outright? The answer, my darlings, is a wicked awesome tool called SparkToro. SparkToro. Why am I suggesting SparkToro? Everything about this tool is amazing. Their tool, their newsletter, their blog. I'm telling you, man, if you want to be on top of what's happening with audience research and marketing in general, just go check these folks out. I love them. I love them. Anywho, starting with 5 free searches a month, SparkToro is an affordable audience research tool that tells you who else people are paying attention to online. You work it like this. You start by finishing a sentence, such as, my audience frequently talks about, my audience follows a certain social media account, or even, my audience frequently uses this hashtag. And then SparkToro, with all its awesome magic, goes to work to bring up results of who else people with that particular information engages with. So what's included in those results? Oh man, buckle up. It will list the websites, social media accounts, podcasts, YouTube channels, and even subreddits those people are into. Now your circle of influence is expanded considerably. Okay, darlings, let's take this for a spin. So let's pretend my target audience frequently talks about sustainable fashion. As you can see in the results, there is already so much killer intel. Just look at it all. Top words in their bio, the hashtags they use, pure friggin' gold. Take notice of this hidden gem section. These are accounts that have the sweet spot of being popular, but aren't the super obvious to you accounts that you would expect to see in results. Now, I'm not an expert on sustainable fashion, so let's pretend that Safia Mini is an interesting result that I really want to check out. Now, I can hover over any of those icons to find out how many followers each account has, and then if I click them, they will take me right to that profile. Interesting to note, I see that founder is a frequently used word in the bios of Safia Mini followers. Now, knowing that could help me target content to founders, especially if I found I was being a little too generic in the past. As you can see, this also gives me the websites and social accounts that those followers also pay attention to. It's like audience research inception, darlings. I'm purposely using a free account so you can see exactly what's available at no cost. As you can see, you get limited results and you can't export the data, but their monthly plan is really cost effective and you don't have to do a year's subscription. In fact, you can turn it off anytime and they'll remind you before they bill you. Another reason why I love them. So ethical. So what do you do once you've sourced and figured out where your target audience hangs out? The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go follow them. Sign up for their newsletter. Keep tabs on what they're doing. Pretend you're a tigress in the grass and you're watching all these antelopes. That way you can quickly see what resonates and what flops with your shared audience. This can really help with your content creation. You may also want to look into collaborating with some of these accounts, especially those hidden gems. There's a higher chance that they'll agree to collaborate on a guest post, be part of your newsletter, or some other exciting project you haven't even thought about yet. So as you can see, performing audience research to find out where they hang out online doesn't have to be this super complex, expensive, and tough thing to do. Dare I say, it can even be fun. How do you discover where your target audience hangs out online? I'd love to know in the comments. Otherwise, darlings, happy hunting!